Namaskar, everyone. We are going to start Python. Okay, this is the sixth chapter in your book, and it says introducing Python. Okay, so we all are excited, and let's move ahead. Let us start from the basics only, and then we'll be covering the most of the important topics of this language, that is the Python language. Before starting ahead, let me tell you this is a programming language. It is also known as a scripting language, which means programming language only. So programs can be named as scripts also. Okay. So let us start from the Python only. The symbol I have displayed, this is the Python icon that is there on the extreme right, top right actually. Okay. So this Python was created by G.V. Rossum when he was working at CWI. Okay, Python is a high level language. Students, we have discussed in the previous classes that there are various of languages, right? There is a machine language, then there is first generation, second generation. Okay, so this Python is a high level language which resembles English kind of language. To it This high level language is used to write codes for computer programs, right? This was a basic introduction about this Python language, its features, its applications. I'm going to discuss in the following slides. So before that, I just want you to understand what is IPO cycle. With a computer is an electronic machine which takes the input from user, processes it, and produces the output. So this IPO cycle stands for input, process, and output. This cycle is the base for each and everything that we are going to do with this kind of device. Okay, so whether you are writing programs, whether you are writing any kind of code, okay, so you are doing what? You are giving input to the computer, computer will process it and it will display the outputs. Whether you want to open MS Paint, simple paint in your laptop, what you will do? You will open. Okay, so you will give the computer the instructions, you will click somewhere, computer will come to know that okay, this instruction, this click means I have to open this application, and this it will process and the paint will be opened. So everything is based on this IPO cycle, which stands for input, process, and output. Computer process the input given to them, processes it, and produce output. Set of instructions given to a computer is known as a program. One instruction will be beta. Even if you are clicking somewhere, that is also a part of the instruction. Okay, because computer understands whenever you are going to left click, it will do that. Whenever you will do right click, it will do that. So that is a kind of instruction. Okay, like in our human language also, if I'm not speaking, you are asking me that where is the map of India. Okay, and I'm showing like my finger, I'm indexing somewhere without speaking anything like this. Okay, so with the finger I'm just indexing, so that is also a kind of like I'm showing you the path, right? So that means it can be any kind of instruction that you are giving to the computer, whether it is in the form of click or it is in the form of some kind of written piece of code, right? And these set of instructions, see, once it is known as instruction, and when we collect these instructions together, it is known as program. And the process of writing these programs in a certain language is known as programming. These programs are written in computer languages like C, C++, Java, HTML, Python. There are so many languages, and these names you are familiar with, that is why I have written these names only. Okay, so this was all about IPO cycle, instructions, programs, programming, and computer languages, right? So Python is one of the high level languages that we are going to use to write the programs. Okay, so let us discuss few features about this Python. Okay. Number one, it is easy to learn. That is why we are learning in this seventh class also, right? And why I'm saying it is easy to learn, because it has its simple syntax. Okay. Platform independent. Platform independence is a very important property for any of the computer language. What does it mean? Beta, whenever we are, suppose right now on my laptop, I'm writing some instructions, I'm writing a program. That program I'm sending through email to some other person. That person is going to edit into that same program and will send it to me back. This is known as platform independent. Platform refers to the computer and the hardware and the software specifications that I'm using right now. Maybe the other, see, right now I am having HP laptop. Maybe the other person who will use that code on the system will be having a desktop. Okay, maybe the person will be having a Dell laptop or any other laptop, right? So platform will be changed, and the program will work same as it was working on this platform. So platform means the hardware as well as the software that I am using can be different in the another user's system, but the program is platform independent. Hence, it will work in any of the platforms whatsoever I'm using. And when I'm talking about platform independent, I want to tell you that like machine language is platform dependent. That means if writing a code in your machine language, that code cannot be transferred to any other machine. Maybe the same only, the same brand, same specifications, still it is not, these are not portable. This is known as portability. Okay, so the machine language programs are never ever portable. This was the most like this was the main limitation of these languages, machine languages. Okay, but these high level languages are platform independent. You can continue doing your work in any of the computers that may come across. Simple syntax, that is why it is easy. Syntax means the way of writing, because in like in grammar we have in English we have grammar, right? We have grammatical rules to which are going to be applied once we are speaking or writing. Okay, we are going to use a full stop after a sentence is going to end. Okay, there will be an exclamation mark once there is some kind of shocking situation, or these exclamation marks. So these are the syntax of a language. So Python also has the syntax, that what should be used where and when, right? Interpreted language. Interpreter and compiler are the two softwares, two programs that are going to convert high level language program into machine language program. And why it is important? See, children, whenever we are writing any program, we need to execute it. Okay, now there are two ways to execute and compile it in order to computer to understand it. So one can be line by line. So if you have 20 lines of code, then first line will be done, then second, then third, then fourth. Or or the other method can be when all 20 lines will be calculated, will be executed at once. So this is the difference between interpreter and compiler. Compiler will do it at once, and interpreter is going to take it one by one, and then it is going to execute it, right? So it is an interpreted language. That means Python works in two different modes, and two modes are, one is the interpreter mode, interactive mode, and second one is the script mode. In your interpreter mode or interactive mode, ideally it is going to give you the results after each execution. That means one line you will write, you will get the result or the error. Okay, case sensitive. So if you are writing, like I have started my program with a is equals to small a, I'm writing small a is equals to 10, and later somewhere I'm using capital A. Okay, then these two are different. Okay, and if there is a function, like we had functions in Excel also, no beta, so here also we are having functions. So I'm telling you a simple function like input function, input, and then like in Excel also we used to write parentheses after any function name, no? So here also we are going to write it. So this input, IUT, if it is defined in the small letters, then if you are using it in the uppercase, it is not going to work, because for Python it will be two different words. Okay, so it is case sensitive. Free to use. Anyone can download it from the website, and anyone can install. If that is compatible with your platform, then it is free to use. Okay, it is free software. You don't have to pay for it. These features I have displayed in this image also: portable, easy, object oriented. This is something which in later we will discuss. Free and open source, I have told you. Interpreted, Okay, large library, that means see, library means everything will be collected somewhere. Okay, so Python is also having a large library of its the keywords or data types, all these things, right? Next is beta applications or uses of Python language, where we are going to apply, use this language, right? Number one, to build a website. Number two, to develop games, interactive games. Number three, programming of the robots. Number four, performing scientific computations. And number five, develop AI applications. Okay. Few applications are mentioned here also. You can read all 1 to 9. Okay. And I want to tell you these are the 16 famous companies that uses Python language. Okay. So many of these you all are aware of, and these all companies are using Python language for some or the other reason in their own working. Okay, so these brands like Google is there. Google is using so many languages. Google, because Google is a web portal, it has so much of it. Like it has its own search engine, it has its own mail system, Gmail, it has its classroom that we all are using, Google Classroom. Okay, Google Maps are there. So for holding all, it requires different languages for different purposes. So one of these languages is Python also. The Dropbox, Yahoo, Reddit, Spotify, these days we all are in touch with these things, so these are using Python. Next is beta, let me discuss few of the components of your Python window. Although it's not that complicated as we used to learn the components of different software windows, but one is the title bar. Title bar is always the title, like it will display the title of your that is the Python will be written over there, and maybe in any case the name of the project is also written. Next is menu bar. Menu bar means, like, see, with the blue highlight it is written also, it is menu list. Menu list means that all the options that will give us the option in order to do perform a particular task, like file, edit, shell, debug, options, window, all these are the menu bar options. Next is with a script area. Script area is that area, like you can see here on the screen, where my cursor is, where this blank line, blinking line, you will see. No, after this is known as Python prompt. Okay, like if we are working in MS Word, there is this line, no, vertical line is there where we start typing. So in this Python, we have this Python prompt. Okay, so this whole is your script area. And last is the status bar, where it is written no ln3 column, that means line 3, and all these status is known as, and status bar is always located at the bottom. Title and menu bar are always located on the top, and script area is the in between area, that is line. As simple as that. Okay, next we have interactive mode. So children, interactive mode is the first mode in are going to write the coding of the Python. It is interpreted. That means after this Python prompt that I have shown in the last slide, whatever you are going to write will be displayed. That means the result of the line. If that will, the syntax will be correct. If that will be an valid statement, you will get a result. If something will be missing or it is invalid, you will get an error out of it. Let us discuss few main highlights of this interactive mode of Python. The instructions are executed line by line. Python prompt, I have shown this symbol also here, identifies the location for typing a new instruction. That means whenever you see this Python prompt, or whenever you are going to type something after this Python prompt and you will press enter, then the result or the error will be displayed, and by default new Python prompt will appear in the next line. Okay, so this is the case of your interactive mode. This is known as IDL. The full form of IDLE is Interactive Development and Learning Environment. Okay, it is beneficial for testing the code. Now you can take it as an advantage or application also, that whenever someone is testing the code, that time, okay, we have written a piece of code for something, for doing something. Now if I want to test my code, then it will be better if I'm going line by line. Okay, because if I'm going line by line, then I can see that where what went wrong. Okay, so rather than doing it as a whole, I need my errors to be rectified in line by line. Print function is used to display the output of any command on the screen. Okay, there is this print function, and this print function will be used to display the output of any command. Okay, like if I want to say print, in the apostrophe I'm writing by. Okay, so that means by will be written. Ideally can be as a calculator also, children, because you know that after Python prompt, if I'm going to write 12 plus 4 and I'm pressing enter, so 16 will be the answer, and in the next line new Python prompt will come. If I'm writing 100 minus 50, enter, so 50 will be displayed and new Python prompt will appear. Okay, so this was all about the print function ideally and your interactive mode. Next, we are heading towards the variables in Python. Okay, so let us see this interesting figure right here. I am a Python variable. My name is X, and I can point to an arbitrary object. In this case, to an int object. Int means the data types I'll be telling you in the later slides. Okay, so this is X. You can see here it is written X also, and if I'm saying X is equals to 42, so that means this X is a variable. Also, you can understand it like variable is something whose value varies. Vary. There is this word no vary. Some one thing is constant, one thing is vary. The things which change, that we say vary. Okay, so vary. Okay, so variables in Python are those alphabets whose values tend to change, maybe change or may not change. It depends on program to program. Okay, so if right now the x, we are saying x is equals to 42, so this is a variable in your Python. Okay, and variable names are like these alphabets also, you can write digits also. There are there are rules to write the variables which are given in the book. Okay, so these variable names we will define. Okay, and we can define any variable name as you want, right? So you can refer to page number 78 and 79 in your book for the rules, right? Let me tell you some rules here. Number one, a variable name must start with an alphabet. You cannot start a variable name with a digit or any special character also. It should always be your alphabet. Next is a variable name can consist of alphabets, digits, underscore, and no other character is allowed. That means you cannot insert dollar, ampersand, exclamation, nothing, right? A Python keyword cannot be used as a variable name. Now Python keyword, like if like I have told you print function, so if you are using print as a keyword, print can be a keyword because it is all alphabets only, but you cannot take it because it is already been taken by the Python language, right? So these were the rules for writing the variable names. Next is beta, a is equals to 10, so a is a variable here. And next is variables can be of any length. Even like if I'm saying Cambridge Court World School, so this whole can be a variable name in your Python. Variable names are case sensitive. I have told this in the starting of this lecture also, that if I'm somewhere defining x is equals to 42, and if later on in my program, in my code, I am writing capital X is equals to 42 or anything, I'm using just cap value of x, then it is not going to be the same. Okay, so even when I'm saying the Python language is case sensitive, the variable names are also case sensitive. Next we have script mode. Okay, so beta script mode is the second mode in which Python will work. Here we can write more number of lines. How we will do this, we'll just click on file and then new, and by default a new notepad window will come in front of us. In notepad window going to type our code, and then we are going to, I'm going to tell you what you have to do later. Let us read the points which are there in the script mode. Number one, a script is a program that you type in Python. Okay, I have told you in the starting also, script is equals to program, one and same thing. Click on file, then new file in IDLE. that means the Python main window which is appearing in front of you, to write in the script mode. Save the script. Like once you have written anything that you wanted to write, now you have to save it, because you know that right now you are working in Notepad. If you will not write the file extension, by default it will be a Notepad file only. So if you want Python to understand that this is a Python file, so you have to use the py extension. Suppose you want to save your file with ccws, so you will save it like ccws dot py. So now computer will understand that this file is related to Python, and when you will run it, when you will execute it, the results will be displayed in the Python form only. Okay. So when you have written everything, now you have to run it. So for running, you will click on run and then run module, or you can use the shortcut F5 also to execute. And once it will be executed, you will find the result. Okay. Now, what is the basic difference between interactive mode and script mode? Okay, understand this very carefully. See, here in this diagram, in this picture I have written over here, interactive mode is there, script mode is there. When we are going to type the same code, let us see what will happen. So here we are writing, how old are you? How old are you, like this? And here in this we are writing age is equals to 25, print age 25. Everything we have written this. When we are going to execute, nothing is going to come, because when we are writing age is equals to 25, the same thing will be applied. Okay, age will be 25 only. Okay, so nothing is going to be coming as a result of your execution, because it is going to print anything that is going to come in after this Python prompt. Okay, in script mode, if you are writing print, how old are you? Age is equals to 25, print age. Okay. So how old are you will be printed, and 25 will also be printed in the script mode. So this is the basic difference between interactive and the script mode of Python. Now coming to the data types. Okay. So what are these data types? Children, data type, see, when I was telling you that variable is going to hold the data, variable is like a stack. Just imagine stack where it is written, no, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, everything is written. So just imagine variable is like a stack. Now in one box, you are putting your shoes, in one you are putting your stationery, in one you are putting your daily essentials, anything like that. So everything is having its own type. Shoes is type shoe. Okay, stationery is stationery. So the data that is going to be kept inside a variable will have a type. Okay, now these data types can be, number one, see, the data that we use in Python has a particular type. These basic data types in Python are int, float, and str. Now let me tell you what are these. Int stands for integer, float stands for floating numbers, that means the decimal numbers, and str stands for strings. So three only data types you have to learn: integer, float, and string. Let me brief you about these. Integer basically from all the negative, zero, all the integer, positive, negative, everything will come into integer part only. When we are talking about the decimals, like if I'm telling you 4.2, so that will be of the type float. String means any kind of long value. It can be text, it can be numbers. If any digit, suppose I am saying house number 113, and if all these three things, house number 113, I am putting in the apostrophe, so that is going to be considered as string. So, and even if I am writing 114 and that I'm enclosing in the apostrophe, so that will be of the data type string. This you need to remember. Okay, so here two images are there. Let us see these Python variables, which I'm going to tell you. Like if x is equals to 45, so type will be with a integer. If data flare, string, as I have told you. And if it will be 1859, these kind of things, see, it is enclosed in this kind of bracket. So that is why it is list. Okay, so you don't have to learn this data type here at this level in this class. You can leave this. Okay, so it's just that suppose here I'm writing NUMS is equals to 11.5 or like 8.5 is there. Okay, so this will be float. Okay, next is XYZ. Let us come to this image. X is equals to 7, so this is your integer. Y is equals to 3.14, this is value of pi, right? This is float. And Z is equals to true. True means boolean. True or false is always boolean data type, right? Next we have, what is this? Print. Thank you. That means like thank you will be printed. So thank you for learning this. This was this sixth chapter.